Tom Vittipolitan, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Great to have you aboard. You know, there is no responsibility more awesome than the responsibility of being a parent. And for those of us who have children, we understand that. When you bring life into the world and there's this little human and you now are responsible for everything. You've got to keep that child safe. You've got to keep that child warm. You've got to keep the child fed. And you've got to make sure that child grows and becomes a young adult. And that whole time, you just carry this incredible amount of anxiety and am I doing the right thing? It's tough. It is tough stuff. And we know there's great parts of parenting. The rewards are endless. But that responsibility is real, which is why when I think of parents who have adopted children and think of the added responsibilities that they have and the added challenges that they have, I have so much respect for what adoptive parents do. And when they adopt a child out of foster care, wow, you are an angel. You are amazing. And thank goodness there are people like that are willing to do that and help these children who need everything. Because whatever happened in their lives, they need to be saved from. And that's why the first time I heard the story of Orrin and Orson West, a 3- and 4-year-old. Look at these little, oh my goodness, look at these little guys. Are you kidding me? 3 and 4 years old, and there was a story that they were missing. So I said, of course we have to cover this story. Brothers, 3 and 4, both missing? We need to find them and bring them home. Let's cover that story. And we did, and we have been covering that story. And it was one of our unsolved cases here on Closing Arguments. You know, one of the stories that we do again and again and again, looking for tips, looking for clues, looking for answers. Well, tonight, according to the district attorney in Kern County, California, that case has been solved. And it's not what you want to hear tonight. It's not what I wanted to hear. Because the people responsible for the disappearance of those 2 angels were the 2 people who were supposed to save them. Mom and Dad. The adoptive mother and father. Those 2 little guys were having a rough life. They were in foster care. And then 2 people said, yes, we'll take those children. We'll take care of them. We'll bring them into our family. And now tonight, it's a completely different story. Because Trezell West and Jacqueline West, Mom and Dad, are charged with murder. Here's the district attorney.
I have information about Orrin and Orson West, the 2 young boys who were reported missing from California City 14 months ago. On December 21st of 2020, Orrin was 4 years old and Orson was 3 years old. Their adoptive parents in California City, Trezell West and Jacqueline West, reported to the California City Police Department that the boys had disappeared from their backyard. The California City Police Department began a search for the boys in the area around their home. After a period of time, the FBI joined in the search, as did the California Highway Patrol and search and rescue from the Kern County Sheriff's Department. The community also came out to assist in looking for the boys, but to no avail. They were not located. 1 week later, crucial information came to light that necessitated the involvement of the Bakersfield Police Department and the Kern County District Attorney's Office. Law enforcement worked diligently, hundreds of hours in the next 12 months, looking for the boys. This morning, I'm saddened to announce that the investigation has revealed that Orrin and Orson West are deceased. The investigation has also revealed that they died 3 months before their adoptive parents reported them missing. However, I am pleased to announce that this week, the Kern County Grand Jury indicted Trezell and Jacqueline West, the adoptive parents, for the murder of Orrin and Orson West. The indictment charges 5 counts. The first count is murder, charges them both with murder, with the victim being Orrin West. The second count charges murder, with the victim being Orson West. The third count charges felony child abuse against the person of Orrin West. The fourth count charges child abuse against the person of Orson West. And the fifth count charges false report of an emergency. Naturally, the first 2 counts carry the most time in state prison, murder. It is charged as murder in the second degree. That carries 15 years to life, but with 2 victims, the potential penalty or the maximum possible penalty, if convicted, is 30 years to life for each defendant, Trezell and Jacqueline West. However, one of the questions that I'm sure you would like to know is, have the bodies of Orrin and Orson been found? And the answer to that is no, they have not been found. However, I would like to emphasize that the fact that law enforcement have not found their bodies does not preclude a murder prosecution. As a matter of fact, there have been many hundreds of what we call no-body homicides prosecuted across the United States successfully, and even no-body homicides have resulted in murder convictions in Kern County.
So sad. I mean, it's heartbreaking. Everyone was hoping that, the children, best case scenario, were abducted by someone who wanted children and would be raising those little guys as their own. Didn't turn out that way. Let's bring in our think tank tonight. Joining us in Atlanta, Georgia, criminal defense attorney Eklund Mercy. In Los Angeles, California, former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani. And in Phoenix, Arizona, criminal defense attorney and the attorney who represented Jodi Arias and the author of the book series, which you need to read, Trapped with Ms. Arias. Kirk Nurmi is with us. Great to see everyone tonight. If you don't mind, I'm going to start with Nima. He's in California. He's the former prosecutor here. First thing that stuck out to me, second-degree murder in this case, Nima. Second degree, not first degree. What does that tell you about what prosecutors are dealing with here and what challenges they may have if they've only charged second degree?
An incredibly sad case, Vinny. Like you said, I mean, there's nothing worse than a parent killing their own child, and an adopted child, for all intents and purposes, legally is your own child. So I know the biological parents disagree with that. But, we've been tracking this case for a year, and the question we've said is, what took so long? Why is the DA not charged this case? Where are these children? And the fact that the parents reported the bodies missing 3 months later, for me, I mean, that is the smoking gun, right? That is the proof of guilt there. And why not first degree? I mean, first degree requires that premeditation. Clearly, there's some cruelty going on because really the DA said child abuse, but it's willful cruelty to a child that we're dealing with here. So there's at least some allegations of physical abuse, I believe, maybe even torture. And again, this is just speculation that resulted in these young children dying. So I don't think they have enough for premeditation, but they certainly have enough to put these two in prison for the rest of their life.
Here's the part that I don't understand about that, though, Nima, and I'll throw this to Kirk, is it's two children, right? So I'm like, you're torturing your child and then the child dies, right? Okay, like I've seen that case, I've covered that case. But this is two children. So I'm wondering, under what circumstances could we imagine that you don't plan to kill the two children, but you kill two children? That's the part I don't understand here, Kirk.
Well, Vinny, it's hard to fathom those circumstances, isn't it, when we're talking about children that are 3 or 4 years old. But I think one of the keys that we heard in that press conference out of the district attorney was that they had information related to the idea that these young boys had been killed 3 to 4 months prior to them reporting missing. That tells me that the prosecutors have some pretty specific information. And we could probably envision a scenario where was sadly often the case that these children were probably abused together, perhaps in their room, what have you, and that ultimately led to death. And that goes to what Nima said, they couldn't quite prove the premeditation. But if they were together all the time, sadly abused and tortured together, I think that's why we're seeing second degree. But I think the prosecutors have a pretty strong case if they can pinpoint that point in time when these children were killed.
Yeah, 6 children in the house. I mean, young couple, 6 children, 2 biological. They had 4 adopted children and now had 2, but I believe Family Services has all 4 kids now that are left. Eckler Mercy, I want to ask you about the no body. They have not found these children. But first, I want you to listen to Trezell West with his wife there. This is when everybody was looking for these kids, when they spoke publicly and kind of told their story. Listen.
Tell us what happened the night the kids went missing.
Oh, okay.
From our yard.
Okay. It was cold. I was gonna make a fire. It's a lot of wood in this area right here next to our house. I opened up the back gate. I'm throwing wood, bringing it inside the house. My wife's inside. She was actually wrapping gifts, so we thought it was a good idea that our youngest 2 would go outside and play with chalk on the back patio. Do not let them go on the dirt in the backyard. We keep them close. So I was playing with chalk, and I came in the house. I saw them there. I went in the house. I came back out. I didn't see them now. I immediately went back in, asked my wife, did you see the boys? She said, no, they should be outside playing with chalk. I said, well, I didn't see them, so I came back outside and I started searching my backyard. I searched the whole thing. I realized that I left the gate open and I panicked, came inside the house, searched the house, me and my wife. Once that didn't pan out, I got in the van. I looked down the street in both directions. It was getting dark, getting cold, and I got in the van and I hit a bunch of corners. I went down this street. I turned my light on. I searched. I called their names. Talked to a gentleman on the street on the other side over there. He didn't see me. So then I came home and I told my wife we need to call the cops.
All right, Eklund, that's their story, okay?
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. Let me ask you something, though. At the trial, is that the story, or are they going to pull the old Casey Anthony routine where, and now for something completely different in our opening statement that has nothing to do with all the prior statements made by the accused murderers?
Absolutely, and that's their right. But I personally feel like they may have other suspects because as a guardian ad litem, I also did that, and I also represented, children before they were adopted. We saw a lot of situations in which the new families, it's the siblings, it could be other people around the home that have done things. So I don't think it's a slam dunk per se. And if they are protecting somebody, I think that the prosecution should make a lot of more, should make a thorough investigation and really look at how many people were in the home, because we still don't have a body, which will actually help the prosecution if they offer somebody a deal. If they offered one of them a deal, I think that we should all get closure and at the very least be able to find where the children are. So I think that it's still kind of murky. We don't have any bodies. And even with the information that the prosecution has to prove second-degree murder, I know it's been done before, but it's 2 bodies instead of 1.